Hello everyone, my name is Larry Mullenix with Billion Toyota, and I'm here to share a story with you about a customer of mine and how a Toyota saved his life. Please introduce yourselves.
My name is Ed Geringer.
And I'm Chris Geringer.
Ed, Chris, thank you for joining me today. Chris, this all started with a letter that you wrote. When you came into the dealership, you read that letter to me. You wanted Toyota to hear it. You wanted everybody to hear it. Could you please read an excerpt from your letter?
Sure. I'm writing this letter to you to say thank you. My family and I believe it is important that people know when they have done things right. As far as we are concerned, the team at Toyota does things right. On September 24th, 2017, my father was driving his Toyota Tundra when, for reasons yet unknown, he lost consciousness. The vehicle was going down a fairly steep hill on a highway that runs perpendicular to the interstate. Witnesses say the truck came off the highway, down the hill, and launched into a horse trailer being pulled down the interstate. Witnesses said all four wheels of the pickup were off the ground when it impacted the side of the trailer. My father had to be extracted from the vehicle, but did not have life-threatening injuries. Fortunately, nobody else was injured. Sadly, the two horses in the trailer did not survive. A devastating fact for my dad. He is a retired rancher and a horse lover at his very core. Simply looking at the vehicle, it's hard to imagine anybody could survive. For my dad, this pickup was the ultimate. Being a rancher, he has owned a bunch of pickups, but this one was by far his favorite one he has ever owned. He enjoyed every aspect of the vehicle. Without question, it was a point of pride for him. The fact it saved his life in this accident is the ultimate tribute to the product you build. In closing, it is the sincerest wish of my family that this letter be shared with any and all people at the Toyota team. They literally saved a life. From our perspective, we thank God, the team at Toyota, and the first responders, in that order.
Chris, thank you for reading your letter to us. What made you write the letter, Chris?
I just felt it was something that people should know. I mean, they should know when they do things right. And it was, too often you hear about bad things that happen, but you don't hear about the good things that happen and the things that matter.
So Chris, what do you remember about that day?
My dad and I and my oldest daughter were working on her car, and we were putting an engine in her car, and he was over helping us do that. And he decided he was gonna leave and go home for a while. And then shortly after that, I got a call from my mom saying he had been in an accident. The first report was, or she had told me that he was in an accident, but he was conscious and talking with the ambulance people.
So then you drove down to the accident, right?
I left my house to go pick up my mom to give her a ride to the hospital. And as we were coming down the same highway that the accident happened on, I didn't see the pickup, but I did see a horse trailer that only had three sides. It wasn't until as I got closer to the hospital that I had kind of put two and two together and figured out he must have run off of the highway and onto the interstate. You know, I didn't see the pickup because it was underneath the bridge of the interstate, and my oldest daughter was going to be going to work that day, and I told her, just go to work, assume everything is fine unless I call you and tell you otherwise. She decided to take the interstate to work, and she saw the pickup. She had called me in kind of a complete hysteria, saying that she had seen the pickup on the interstate and that it didn't even look like Papa's pickup. And it's such a sinking feeling, because that's kind of the point where I realized that the only way that that accident would have happened is if he went down the hill and jumped onto the interstate.
Chris, the next day when you went to go clean out the truck, what did you see?
When I pulled up to the wrecking yard, you could see the pickup there. It was obvious, you know, which one it was, and there was no front end, at least on the driver's side. It was just gone, and it wasn't recognizable as Papa's pickup. Mechanically, the pickup did everything it needed to do to absorb that energy and to redirect it. And just looking at it, the space between the steering wheel and the seat, it didn't look like enough for a person to be in, and especially in the knee area.
So the knee airbag went off, correct?
Every airbag went off.
So the knee airbag went off. There's an airbag up on the side that protects the window, the side window. There's one that comes out, protects his chest. There's the one in the front that comes out of the steering wheel.
Right.
It sounds like everything went off and did what it was supposed to do and literally protected him like a cocoon.
Yeah, it must have, because just looking at what's there, it didn't look survivable. To give you an idea about the severity of the impact, the windshield wiper, the blade from the windshield wiper was stuffed in between the back seats.
What else did you see?
Well, all of the airbags were deployed, and there was glass everywhere, and the center console had come completely apart. He had some keys in the center console. One of the keys I found in the vent, and it had just absolutely obliterated that vent, that little key. And how it came off the keychain and all the things that must have been flying around in the cab must have been just horrific, but not many of them touched him.
The witnesses that you talked to, did they say what they saw?
The witnesses that I heard said that the vehicle came down the hill and literally jumped onto the interstate into the side of that horse trailer. It's amazing when you look at the tracks where the vehicle came down the hill. It's amazing that it didn't roll. It was very impressive that it stayed upright from the very beginning, because the angle that it went down is very steep.
It's an incredible story. It really is. Thank you, Chris. Ed, thank you for coming in. What do you remember from the accident?
What I remember is getting to the top of the hill, and then the next thing I know, I'm talking to, I believe he was a volunteer fireman. He was first on the scene, and he was cutting away the airbags by the driver's window.
Yeah.
And he was hollering at me, and I came to, and I knew what had happened. I knew I had had a wreck. And so I immediately told him that I needed him to call my wife and tell her that what had happened. And even to this day, I'm trying to figure out how I survived this. And it had to be because of all those safeties that Toyota had.
So you said that the pickup protected you. What kind of injuries did you end up with?
My legs were trapped in the vehicle. They had to raise up the dash to get my legs out. I had 2 cuts on my knees, small cuts, nothing serious. I had 12 rib fractures and an L4 fracture on my back. That was my injury. And all of the injuries to the ribs were consistent from wearing the seatbelt. The doctors and nurses told me that that's why I had the injuries that I have, is because of the seatbelt.
Yeah, it's an amazing story.
Yes.
Well, we're just glad you're okay.
It's the ultimate in safety.
It is.
I'm so pleased that I had the Toyota, that I'm able to sit here, and I'm going to be able to enjoy Christmas with my family. And that's the most important, really. And I just can't thank Toyota enough for the safety that they have. Because that pickup was, I bought it off the showroom floor. It was the neatest feeling. They had to move all the other vehicles out of the way to get my pickup out of the building. That was so neat. That was so neat. And And both my wife and I just loved to travel in it. It was so comfortable. And we truly, truly miss it. And I feel so bad that my pickup is sitting somewhere all alone. It wrecked. But that's what I remember.
It's amazing. And it's why I sell this product. Because I know that it's a safe product. I know it's a good quality product. And I believe in it. And, you know, I'm Hardcore Toyota. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Chris, for sharing your story. Thanks, everyone, for watching.